Today I have a nice scratchy voice, but I wanted to do this video anyway. And I thought a good way to lead in to this after my scratchy voice is to tell you about one of my fabulous residents, Mrs. Bell. She was an older gal, and she had, of course she's an older gal, that's who I worked with, duh. But anyway, she would call me into her room, and she had a real deep, gravelly voice. And she said, "You know what, Paula?" I'm like, "What?" And she said, "When I was younger, people used to call my house and say, 'Is this Mr. Bell?' And I told them, 'No, this is Mrs. Bell. I just have a sexy voice.'" And it was just funny, so haha. But I guess my point in that is that Mrs. Bell also was younger and had a life once that's everyone's probably experienced. As we age and get older, we just kind of tend to forget that. A lot of people do, not everyone. For example, older people don't feel good about not being able to do the things that they used to always be able to do. And the generation now that I worked with, they are very dignified and proud, and to ask for help is really, really tough. And they don't want to be a burden on anyone. Mostly, I mean, we have all our little firecracker older adults too that I'm sure we're a lot to handle at any age. So I would just think about this. These are human beings. Some served in World War II. Those individuals are starting to slowly die, so that's not going to be a reference that we can hear from firsthand anymore. So I would just remember that they did a lot of really amazing things that we may or may not have done. They had lives, they had families, they had kids, they had careers. Many were in the military, and we're very proud of that. And we need to remember that. I guess just think of a situation, like I think of a situation when somebody younger walks up to me and says, "Oh, Miss Paula, you're getting old." And I just say, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" You are too, but we do every day, every second. So I would just remember like when we were younger, and our older generation above us would say, "Oh, it's not like it when we were that young, and we didn't used to do it that way, and your music's awful," all those kinds of things. And every generation does it. And just remember that that was an important time for them. It's very nostalgic to remember childhoods in general. I love thinking about mine because I had a really great one, and I have a lot of stories about it that I love to share. So when you're talking to your loved one who is older, even if it's not a great relationship, there are so many different family dynamics. And it may be a situation where you had a parent that you're trying to help and they weren't a good parent. And that happens, and it's unfortunate, but it's just life. I know that sounds kind of a little crass, but hopefully you can have some good memories if that was the case. So just remember, they're humans, they're frustrated, they may have been mean or crotchety their entire life, but they're still human beings. You may have some that have just lived wonderful, fabulous lives, and were wonderful parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles. And a lot of them feel the same too. They feel like, "I don't want to ask my kids. I don't want to be a burden." That's a constant thing I would hear. "I don't want to be a burden on anyone." And we have to figure out a way to get through the situation of placing or helping a senior who needs a higher level of care. I tell people all the time, I wish that more kids would have come into my buildings and actually engaged with the residents. I think a lot of younger kids are kind of scared of older people. They don't understand aging, and it's just a little strange to them. But if you brought kids into senior living homes, senior centers, their grandparents, neighbors, anybody that's a senior, you're talking to an encyclopedia of knowledge that we won't get to hear ever again firsthand from somebody that experienced it as, you know, people die out. And we're not going to have that available to hear their stories. So I would recommend engaging young people with older people. It makes the older people feel young at heart. And you might really be surprised once somebody gets to know an older person, a young kid, it may be their grandparent that they never had, or an individual that they really look up to, and they're learning a lot from them. So it's a win-win from everybody. So I guess my point is, just don't forget that our older adults are human, and, you know, they used to be hot mamas and good-looking daddies, and you know, they were in their prime too, just like we all were. So just a little snippet on that just has been on my mind, and I wanted to share it with you. So thanks for putting up with my voice, and hope you keep watching. And I just thank you so much, and I'll just try to keep giving information that's relevant. And again, you can feel free to leave comments. You want to message me separately and give me topics you want to hear about, or ask me questions about what I've talked about, or question anything I've said, because it may not, you know, it may not be right what I said for everyone. So just keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. Bye.